Mel liked to come and go fishing. So he was there, and we all had dinner at the Lighthouse restaurant on the lake. You had your hair done up in French braids. And Sally and Mike were there too, the restaurant. And your mom milking the goats. Peanuts. Your kids had fun on the bongo board. You're feeding the goat. This was in May 1982. Wesley with your mom. We had come to visit you on our way to working in Washington. And Amy, this is your teacher, Karen. We were there for your kindergarten class. Your little program in May. And Grandpa took you fishing. There's your bike, Amy. Remember how I worked with you to teach you how to ride your bike? That was in September of '82. Now you're blowing bubbles in January of '83 when you were down to visit us. With Graham. By our lemon tree. Sisters. You with the Dunn kids. This was in May of '83. On your moving day to California. It was a big adventure. Your mom driving the U-Haul and your kids with us in the RV. And all snuggled in the motel. This is in Bend, Oregon, where we stopped for the night. Now we're in Fresno at the zoo. And a picnic by our pool in June of '83. Amy's doing so well in the pool. Sally and your mom. Graham loves spending time with you. And Wesley, you had your 5th birthday. was in August of '83. You'd gone to the beach and Christmas time. With Cammie and Mel and Dorothy. At Mike and Sally's house. It was in April of '84, just before the wedding. And there's the wedding party, family. Grandpa's 70th birthday. He liked to play at the pond. And Playland in Fresno. This was in April of '85. Back at our pool with Cammie. And there's little Mandy now, 4 months old. And Christmas in 1985. This is Wesley when you were, it was in March of '87. Three kids. The whole family with the grandparents. Mandy and Cassie, the newborn baby. And you three big kids. It was in March of '87. Remember when we were at the campground at Rancho Oso and you went for a horseback ride? This is Easter, 1987. A family picture with your mom. And Amy, your dance was in May of '87. And Christmas time. Back in our car house. This was in August of '88. And we were bringing you home from up north, and we stopped at the Rainbow Creek campground in California, and it was so hot, and the water felt so nice. Wesley, remember when you and Mike were in the kayaks? upside down. Sorry about that. You were cleaning the pool, the spa. This is in June of 1990. And Wesley, when you got the gun for Christmas in 92. And that's the end of the slides I have put together for you on this tape. Hope you've enjoyed them. And the steak barbecue. And the hula hoop days. This was in 1958. The Russian River barbecue. The river was so cold, wasn't it? It was good to get all wrapped up in the sunshine. It's a nice picture of Grandma Pierre. A picnic. Raymond pulling the neighborhood kids. This was a trained pony. That was at the Burrell Estates. This is 1959 now. We're on our way to Nebraska on the train. This year they had the dome car, and you girls had such fun riding the train. After we left Oakland, the new bridge under construction there, the Carquinez Bridge. And the ship graveyard. Long trip, but pretty scenery. The mountains in Utah. Both of you always look forward to our trips to Nebraska and the fun you had on the farm. And we were always there, it seemed like, for the 4-H time and the fair, so it was fun to get to help with the animals. Do you remember, Sally, you asked Bob, you'd say, Uncle Bob, doesn't the lamb ever run out of baa's? Because they would just be baa all the time when they were scrubbing him. Ron showing his lambs. The family. And those are two of the paintings I have done for them. And the cousins on the front step. Lots of kitties. Ronnie and his motorbike. That's Uncle Herman, and the new foal. I think the colt was just 6 days old. This is at their farm. Sally and Cindy's. Sally, you weren't as brave on the pony as Jan was. Of course, you were younger, too. And the old merry-go-round, Bob had gotten that from the school. So it was an old piece of equipment. Mulberry trees, you were picking mulberries. Wheat harvest. Ronnie's setting pipes, irrigation. Behind you girls, that's the Milo field crop. And the birthday party on Graham's front yard. It was for Sally's birthday. And you like to dress up with Cynthia's clothes, and you'd come clumping down the street. The slide that you just saw was of Bill Clifton, in case you didn't remember his name. He enjoyed you girls so much because you gave him so much attention on him and his electric wheelchair. This is the Bertrand time again for the parade. You kids enjoyed it because they would throw out candy, and it was a fun time. Now we're on our way to Disneyland. This is in November of 1958 at the Santa Barbara Mission. And we spent overnight with our friends, the Clicks, in their big house. That was fun for you kids to run around that big place. There's lots to see and do at Disneyland, wasn't there? There you are in the gondola. Here we're at Santa's Village. This was in December. And the reindeer rides. And a Christmas tree. This is still 1958. Getting ready for presents. This was Christmas Eve. And in the morning, we had dinner at the Smalls. Cookie and Sue. And you girls with your little cigar box dolls. And the parasols that Bob and Norma had sent to you. Our poinsettia. Sally, remember your first skates? It was our anniversary. And Mom was with us that Christmas. Janny and your dear friend Julie. Our Daphne bush. And the Fosters and the Thorntons at their place. And Graham and us. This is in February of 1959. And Grandma Dare's birthday. And Easter at our church, St. Andrew's. We helped decorate the cross with the lilies. And matching dresses. There you're learning to swim. That's the Brownie Troop. Back at Fairyland again. This is in May of 1959. feeding the ducks. Bearsford Park, remember when we had the pirate parade? They're all dressed up. That rocking chair got lots of use, didn't it, with the three of you? There you go, on the fun toys. And Sally, here is your 6th birthday. And you and Gary were playing dress up. You were Miss America. Now we're back at Mount Cross. This was in September 1959 when there was a picnic there. Oops. We were with Ford and Ani. They drove. So here is the start of our trip at Lake Tahoe. Picnic style. Going through Utah and Wyoming. We always saw lots of cattle, didn't we? And picnic tables. The pretty rocks in Utah. Now we're in Nebraska in time for the corn harvest. This is in October. I'd like to play in the corn. These are Esther's kids. All of the relatives. We left you girls at Graham's, and then we went on with Ford and Ani to Minnesota for a convention, Lutheran Brotherhood convention. So these are a few shots of Minneapolis and St. Paul, the capital. And visiting Ani's family, all the lakes in Minnesota. It's her sister, Olga. The sisters. And leaving Nebraska now, they had a little snow, so this was your first snowballs in western Nebraska. We went to Colorado Springs, you remember? The Air Force Academy was very new at that time. And the Garden of the Gods. It was so cold and windy, so we didn't stay there very long because a storm was on the way. And we stopped at the Royal Gorge and took the funicular down to the bottom. And it was really cold there. It's a long ways down. This is a bottom slide, but it shows the cages that we were in to get down to the bottom. We had to stop and put on chains to go over the pass. And now we're back in California. The old church there in Austin. And back at the beach. We spent a lot of time there, didn't we? Santa's Village. It's in 1959. And they had a ride. And the traditional tree cutting and Christmas time. How about that? Fun times in the tub. This was in April 1960. And John Russell, Sally, you had such fun with playing with his hair, and he was so gracious about that. He was our intern at church for 2 or 3 years, so we spent a lot of time with he and his wife, Colleen. Golden Gate Park, and they're swimming here. Learning to float. This is you, Sally. Our 2 bathing beauties. And this is at the Scouts. You were Snow White, Jan, at the fly-up ceremony. This is in June of 1960. Both of you with your bikes. And Janny, your 10th birthday with the neighbor kids. You're at Mount Cross. The Bible camp was a fun place for you both. Scott and Ross with you, Sally. You were fishing in the gutter. Golden Gate Park. The cherry blossoms. And feeding the ducks. It's at Dennis the Menace Playground. Graham was with us at this time. Cutting the tree. And the Christmas program at church. And the kids, they're all singing. We're decorating the Christmas tree. It's in 1961. Sally, remember your dog, Rover? And your bicycle. Here, Janice, you're a Girl Scout. This is in January of 1961. It was at the Unicorn Farm in San Mateo. Sometimes on Sundays we'd take a hike up in the hills back of our house and look down in San Mateo. Now this area is all developed with the junior college. But at that time it was a great place for hiking. Foresters, and San Francisco, the Golden Gate Park. Our backyard. Birthday time. It's our church at Easter. Birthday of Grandma. The neighborhood kids with you. In our backyard. Here you are practicing your Girl Scout salute and handshake. And you're feeding the squirrel. Back at Mount Cross. On our way to Nebraska again. This is in July of 1961. A picnic stop along the way with Arnie. Jenny, you were a good helper. Ron with his pony. And Cindy with your little lamb. More pasture trips. Graham's house in town. She loved her iris beds. And you liked that pony, didn't you, Jan? It's kind of a feisty little thing, though. Being on the big machinery was always kind of a fun, a different experience for you kids. Trudy was a nice cousin for you, wasn't she? Got to ride her ponies. It was Aunt Mary and Esther and her kids and grandchildren. Aunt Mary's great-grandchildren. Little kitties. We're at the Russells now. We're in Hayward because Colleen was teaching there. So we came over for dinner and enjoyed the pool. Living Christmas tree. It's December of 1962. Bob and Norma were out. First time we had snow in San Mateo was in January of 1962. Graham with us. I was at the Napa Valley Ranch Club. It was in March. Ford and Audie were with us. Christmas with Fuzzy under the tree. This was in 1962 when Mel and Dorothy were there with us. And our friends, kids, Mike and Kathy. Fuzzy was a lovable cat, wasn't he? And the cat knew we were going to go on a vacation. He was ready to go with us. Lunch stop. I'm sure this must be a sunrise rather than a sunset, because we were always up so early in the mornings traveling, weren't we? We stopped at Salt Lake City. Rabbit Ear Pass and a picnic along the lake, Powder Lake. We stopped to see friends in Denver, and this was their dog. And then in Trenton, Nebraska, we stopped to see my girlfriend and her family. Then we arrived in Nebraska. Dad on Joe, the horse. Always fair time. And parade. My cousin Harlan there in the outhouse. And it's Herman and Arvella and Graham and Edith and Walt. Dear people. At Johnson Lake we had a picnic. Watermelon always tastes so good outdoors, doesn't it? With Trudy and Wanda. And all of the relatives, the little ones, at Aunt Mary's. And on our way back home, remember your cowboy hat, Sally? We're at Donner Lake and that water was so cold, wasn't it? But you had fun fishing anyway. And back home, first day of school in September 1963. Our steps and porch used to be red, and it was a nice change to get rid of that color. Oh, that's the first day of school. Gathering the pumpkins. the pumpkin farm. Neighbor kids. And Christmas, 1963. And the Meadow Heights Living Tree singing. That's the mohair sweater I knitted for you, Jan. That was a surprise, wasn't it? On our anniversary. It's a cute little kitty. Chris, who lived around the corner from us. There, you girls with your cowboy hat and your boots. You with your Girl Scout hoop. This is in 1964 with Julie. And our neighbor Francis from across the street. We went to a horse show there at Woodside. And now it's Easter. Moving day, when we moved to 773 Sequoia, which I call my dream home. It's a very special place. Our backyard. Now, Jan, on your confirmation day, the May 1964. Here you are in front of Burrell Junior High. We're at the Nut Tree and Sacramento now, Fort Sutter. Oops. Kathy, you and Sally. We're at the Napa Valley Ranch Club, camping there, and horseback riding. And Sally, you with Pastor Van and Pat. Janice and Bonnie's niece, Helen. And we had fireworks in front of our place, 4th of July. And eating. More eating. Ford and Dad barbecuing. And here's your 11th birthday, Sally. And then we're at the beach. Big chunk of seaweed, wasn't it? The first day of school again. This is in 1964. Dad. And this is the car wash that you were involved in, Jan. Our backyard with the citrus tree. Remember your pumpkin, Sally? That was a item for the newspaper. Such a big one. And it's nice to carve it. Halloween time, you can see. You're at the campus of California Lutheran College. And we're at Doug and Lucille's on their street with a pretty ash tree behind us. And we went to visit the Clicks. Wendy was with us. And the boys. And the kitty cat. Another Christmas. It's your party. Kitty had lots of fun with the wrappings, didn't he? With our family. It was Ani's birthday. It was in March of '65 with the Pinkuses and Anne. Mom was with us. And here's your Girl Scout troop. It was taken in July '65. And volleyball. That last picture is your birthday, Jan. No, it was Sally's birthday. It was 12. This was Squaw Valley on Sally's birthday. And we're on our way to Nebraska again. August of '65, I mean. Going through the desert. Medicine Bow, Wyoming, and the usual route. And the Rockies. See how the tree has grown in grams, and you girls have grown along with it. Nice tall corn is in August. This is a popcorn field. It's Herman, Narvella, and Bob and Norma. More horseback riding. Rob and Cindy. Relatives. It's Walter and Lena and Graham and all of us. We went home through Kansas, visited the Eisenhower Museum, Boot Hill, Dodge City. That's you, Janny, and the Rio Grande River. We went over Wolf Creek Pass in Colorado, climbed the ladder at Merced National Park, and we played tag with these boys in the red convertible. They would pass us and we would pass them for miles and miles. And they had such fun with you. We're standing at the four corners where the four states meet together. And then on to Monument Valley. And the Hogans, the Navajo Reservation. And then on to the Grand Canyon. And we we took the mule ride down. And the Hopi dancers at the Hopi house. The Mojave Desert. And it was Pamela Sheriff. She was visiting us from New Zealand. She was on her way home after having been a foreign exchange student in the States. And she stayed with us a couple of nights. It's our neighbor's bunnies. And the dog next door. We had such a nice creek behind our property. And here you are, Sally, with Nancy at the beach. And they were doing smelt fishing. We watched them hauling the fish, and the people were scattering about, gathering up the smelts. The begonia gardens is a pretty place to see. And here you are, Sally, back at Mount Cross. And Pam was with us at that time when we left you there. It's you in our yard. This is in November of 1965, when you were mascot at the Abbott Junior High. With Julie. There's our little orange tree. And Christmas time again. Happy days, weren't they? And Jan's formal was in March of 1966. And it's your day to run. Now we've moved from San Mateo to Fresno. And they were digging our pool at 721 West Palo Alto. And we're watching it fill up. We had a lot of fun with that pool, didn't we? And you were all dressed up. That's probably your birthday. Bob and Norma were here with us, and Cindy. And there's Sally on your 13th birthday with Cindy. Went fishing at Lost Lake on your birthday. Big catch, Jan. Bonnie. That's when Nancy was there. And David Trower and Chris Wampel. And first day of school. And Bertha was there visiting us. It's you, Jan. That was in September of 1966. That's our first Christmas in Fresno. You're all dressed up, ready to go to your prom. We had fun on Thanksgiving when we would go to King's Kings Canyon National Park is kind of a tradition. Christmas in 1966. Getting ready for your party. Chris Wankle and you, Jan. And Sally's best friend, Nancy, came to visit. You had fun on the slopes. Julie. Bertha enjoyed you girls skiing with her. That's Mother's Day in front of our house. Vidalville Falls in Yosemite. And another Christmas with family. And Christy came to see you, Jan. Kings River was in February 1968. Mel came. Sally's your confirmation. Pastor Cooper. And then Jan, your big graduation in 1968. Couldn't get you to smile because you were self-conscious with your braces. And that was in June. We had snow going up to Huntington. Early morning catch. Back in the tent trailer days, wasn't it? The San Joaquin River. Jan's 18th birthday with Sandy. Then our trip to Nebraska through Fort Churchill, Nevada. We'll never forget that place, will we? Camping near Salt Lake was better. In Wyoming at Silver Lake. It's a Medicine Bow Park with lots of sheep. Then we're at the farm with Cindy and lots of kitties. Ron was just a tiny, Ron and Linda's baby. Greg was a little guy then. We came home through the Grand Tetons. Beautiful country. And that was our cabin. Wasn't that a great place to be? One of the lakes at the Grand Tetons. Echo Lake. And a Fresno sunrise. It was your early American costume, Sally. And we did have snow in Fresno. That was unusual. Bob and Norma came for Christmas. And Bertha was always with us. We're in Utah at Flaming Gorge Canyon. I think that was out of place. Oh, I'm going backwards. Pushing the wrong button. Norma's peacocks. And that's how they dug the well, so we could irrigate. Walt and Edith on their farm, that was in 1969. And Greg is getting bigger this year. We came home through Colorado and stayed at the state park here, Lathrop State Park. We brought Heidi, the kitty, with us. Place to stop and fish in Colorado. And an early snow. It was in June. I guess you'd call it a late snow, wouldn't you? And we camped along the river here at Durango. And Clyde and Heidi, they were special kitties. And at last, Janny, your braces are all gone. You could eat an apple. A dinner party with the Coopers and Cena. This is 1969. And Heidi had such fun with the typewriter. Christmas in 1969. Your special dress, Jan, that you liked. And Sally's, your formal, in January 1970. And back to the mountains at Badger Pass. And the little baby kitty. One of many, wasn't it? That was quite an experience for all of us. And Astrid, Luke, the Chinese student, and we took her to Yosemite. And Sally's birthday, 1970. Remember Bob and Esther Larson? They were over for dinner with Graham. It was in October of 1970. Dad's fly tie kit. And your suede coat that Jan had sent to you. It was our 22nd anniversary. You and Nancy. We had the Chinese New Year's at Astrid's apartment. And one of the many times when Ford and Ani were with us. It was on a Memorial Day weekend. Joan Hines and you, Sally, when you went to the mountains. Sally and your big graduation, June 1971. The mountains in Colorado. It's an old mining town area. Gold Hill, it's called.
Charlie? Fish?
That's a famous historical home in Boulder, Colorado. It's when Jan was living in Boulder. Now we're back on the farm. And we always had a barbecue, didn't we? With Bob's beef, homegrown beef. And Greg is getting bigger now, this year. And Gran with her granddaughters. On our way back, we were at Flaming Gorge in Utah. In the Salt Flats. And back to Fresno. Chris Heigl. Our swimming pool was popular. Another Christmas in '71. Bob and Norma came out, so we were at the beach in San Francisco. And your new 10-speed bike in January 1972. And Sally, and your artwork on our pool filter. And the mailbox art. I think the kitty was clawing your neck there, Sally. The Christmas in 1972. It's the blanket that Graham had done. And your girls in Yosemite. See, another Christmas in 1973. We're getting dinner ready. It was our anniversary dinner when Pastor Click was with us. And he's the one that gave us our silver butter dish. It's our 25th anniversary. Jen, your graduation from your dental hygienist class in 1974. And your new car. And Sally, remember Graham's car? On Christmas in 1974. Happy Kitty. Good old Zonker. And family dinner. It's in January of '75. We went over to Pine Flat Dam. And Jan, on your 25th, happy birthday. And that's the end of this history up through your growing up years.